Welcome to this introductory slideshow and presentation on world regions. It's key in the AP Human Geography course that you understand world regions, and as we've gone through the course together and gotten to this time of review, it's especially important that you are able to discuss and describe and identify world regions as you prepare for the AP exam. So let's remind ourselves what we think of regions here in the course. First of all, two of the key types of regions, not the only types, but two of the key ones are formal and vernacular. So formal regions are universally accepted with boundaries, often due to governmental borders that are agreed upon. Then you have perceptual or vernacular regions that only exist as a conceptualization or an idea and not necessarily universally accepted or physically demarcated or lined out. In other words, they can vary based on the criteria and who is coming up with those. So examples: in the United States, the U.S. is a formal region. It has defined borders. The Commonwealth of Virginia is a defined formal region. A Catholic diocese that has specific areas that are either in one diocese or another, or the city of Richmond or Roanoke or wherever you might live. The other type of region that we're concerned about here is a vernacular or perceptual region, and they're a little harder to define. So the Bible Belt, do you define that as a place where the majority of evangelical churches are, or a place where Baptists are the majority? There's all kinds of ways you could define that. The South, as we remember from early in the course, can be defined multiple ways. Is it the states from the southern side of the Civil War? Is it a cultural divide where a certain dialect is spoken? Is Florida technically part of the South culturally? And finally, the Middle East, which we're going to talk about here in just a little bit. The definitions we're going to use for this come from the United Nations, which is the recognized source for all things geography, as we found through the course. And these are the regions that the United Nations has agreed are common perceptual regions that we can define states within, and they do divide them by states or countries, but there is some overlap in various places. So the ones we're most concerned about are these, because I assume that you know North and South America without too much trouble. But what countries are part of Western Asia, which is also often called the Middle East? What parts are part of Northern Europe or Western Europe? And we're going to kind of combine Western Europe and Northern Europe together because culturally they're very similar. We're not going to worry so much about Australia and New Zealand, but these are the main cultural regions that this review module is going to be concerned with.